are entering E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
Birdman.
Whoa.
Merry Christmas. Yeah.
You want me to start this one off?
I'm extra deep. Today. Can you hear it?
It sounded like you were extra hitting puberty there, like your voice cracked.
Birdman. Yeah, but it wasn't like it was cracking high. It was just the fact that my vocal cords are shredded.
Yeah. So you sent me a picture this morning of yourself. Like your face is all like fucked up. Like
I'm all fucked up.
You look like you even admitted
Sloth.
that you look like Sloth. Like,
yeah.
And that's not even exaggeration. I think you should put.
Hey, you guys. Yeah.
What's going on with your face?
So now I have a sinus infection, and like the whole ear canal, face canal stuff. It's crazy. I am ready for 2018 to be done. But yeah, it swelled up the whole one side of my face. I woke up. I went, what just happened? Like I just went 10 with Apollo Creed, and yeah. So there you have it. There you have it, Birdman.
Yeah.
It makes my bird sounds way better, though.
I bet you you're begging for my hand to come across and slap your ass just so you can forget about how much your face is all messed up.
No. I'm begging to open ridge hand your little turkey gizzard neck. Yeah. That's what I feel like doing right now. But yeah, so I apologize for the extra deep timbre to my voice, although some of you might like it. I kind of like a little Venus flytrap action. What?
You don't have to apologize. I was going to say, you don't have to apologize to these fucking marks. You know? They're going to listen to us. Right. That's how it goes.
You're right.
You know? Whether you sound deal like with you it. Do or not. This is what you get.
They just want to hear the verbal baubles fall out of my face.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. So how was your Christmas?
It was good. It was real good. It was different this year, obviously, but we kind of made the best of a rough few months, and we focused on the kids, and we had a great time just watching them do their thing, and we had a fireplace going, and I drank eggnog for the first time in like 28 years, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It went straight to my hips, but it was awesome. Yeah, it was great. It was really just relaxed and chill, and exactly what Christmas should be.
Yeah. You know what threw me off this Christmas?
What?
That you sent me a gift.
Yeah, you weren't prepared for that.
I wasn't, because we usually don't do that. Like the last few years, we've just sent stuff for the kids. Yeah. But we've never been big gift exchangers between ourselves anyway. No. Because I think I am the gift to you that I just keep getting. So like every day is like a gift of my friendship like herpes. For you. But I almost felt bad that I didn't get you anything. But then you should have, and also didn't even react to the herpes comment. By the way, you're not herpes. Herpes to herpes. You didn't know this?
I don't know. I don't want to know how you know that.
But anyways, you sent me this box or the present, which was almost a rib because it was in this big wooden box that they actually send with like what do you call it? Those things that pry things
open. Crowbar?
A crowbar, a mini crowbar.
Yeah.
Which is, also a wrestling term for somebody that could be a crowbar. And I was like, literally took me 15 minutes to get into the thing, but it was worth it.
I was kind of hoping Denise would record that part of it and send it to me. And initially, that was supposed to be a Toronto Maple Leafs beer stein set, but it was sold out. Yeah, so you got the, I know.
Well, the coffee's good.
Now you disappointed?
No. Well, no, I'm not. I wouldn't have it came from the heart, so I appreciate it. Thanks. I'm
going to lay the blame purely at the feet of Betty Phoenix.
Oh, yeah? And the Phoenix one?
Yeah. The Phoenix one, yeah. Because she was like, you going to get Jay anything? And I was like, what? Huh?
We never get each other anything.
I know. It's like she lulled me into this thing where I'm supposed to like actually act like I appreciate you. And yeah. So
you do owe me. I don't know how for what, but you owe me. For something.
Okay. Yeah. For something.
Yeah.
Hey, so get this.
What? Okay, what?
Well, I know today we have a few guests on the show.
We do.
The writing staff, if we can call it a staff. It's more like a motley crew of
the quote-unquote the brain trust.
Yeah, it's it'd almost be like Animal House, basically. Just a bunch of morons who helped us write the E&C Show this season. So we're all going to sit down and chat and catch up. My good buddy, Fat Buddy Holly, Mike Flash Pongracz.
Yeah, went to college with.
Went to college with him. Lil Timmy Beresford, who we met out on the set of Haven, who's a friend of young Lucas Lycanthrope Bryant, and one Thomas Dreamer.
Right. Yeah. And before we get to that, we should be good podcasters and remind everyone to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, or whoever you get your podcast. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review, brother, like a 5-star frog splash to the review section.
Hey, but I wanted to start by talking about the reintroduction, and I'm putting and I will get to why I am saying reintroduction of women's tag team titles.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we should also mention
by Vinnie Mac.
We rocket strapped it, first of all.
Yeah.
Because I think if you go back in the archives of E&C's Pod of Awesomeness, we did talk about it and said that it's a very real possibility and it's something that should be probably implemented, and now it has. So it's huge. It's great.
It's what we do, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what we do.
Strapper's going to strap. I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I say reintroduction because a lot of people have forgotten that there was WWF Tag Team Championships, Women's Tag Team Championships.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
Way back. We're talking like 1983 back.
Jumping Bomb Angels.
But there's pre-Jumping Bomb Angels. Did you know that?
I did, but I'm going to let you tell it. I did.
Well, so I did a little bit of research because I knew Jumping Bomb Angels, I knew Glamour Girls, but I didn't remember that Velvet McIntyre and Princess Victoria are the first WWF Women's Tag Team Champions. And it happened on a house show in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
You want to know something else? I was lying. I didn't know that.
You didn't? See?
I didn't.
I just blew your little brain on your little bird head.
I did. But I mean, it's amazing. Like I said, that's kind of a forgotten thing. And
I remember, I loved watching the Jumping Bomb Angels.
I did too.
They were awesome, and they had, and the Glamour Girls were great, bumping, feeding heels. They were really. It was really, really good stuff, and I hope that gets remembered, and hopefully, assholes like us will make sure that people do remember that, because it's important. To know that with all of these firsts and all of these things happening, and I love it and I get it, but let's just keep track of the fact that these women, they were plugging away in 1983 doing this. Right. So shout out to all of them. Yeah.
For sure.
Now,
that's okay, go ahead.
On to the current, the reintroduction of the women's tag team titles. It's pretty exciting. Now, my question is, do you do tag team titles for each show, or is it just... That's the only question that I'm not sure was answered in the promo, so you can enlighten me.
I don't know. I don't know either, to be honest with you. And maybe it has been. I don't know if Ted knows, our trusty
Teddy
producer.
From what I have seen, it has not been announced whether this will be Raw exclusive, SmackDown exclusive, or one for either show. I just know that the Riot Squad, as well as Bayley and Sasha, a.k.a. the Boss and Hug Connection, have both been tweeting actively about it. And so who knows what the McMahon brain trust are thinking, really.
The talent pool is pretty deep, right? I mean,
that's what I think.
So I think that, you have a women's championship on either brand, and I think it only makes sense, in my opinion, to have two sets, and for the males it's the same way. So I think that in my opinion it should be that.
I agree, and you know what, that talent pool is just going to keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper, because more and more women, more and more girls, teenagers, realize that this is a viable thing now. And I think it's just going to get, like I said, deeper and deeper and deeper. And you know, look at the Fatal 4-Way for contendership, number one contender, to Shayna Baszler down in NXT this week, and those women, and it's just, it's time, and you're able to do it now. So I think each show as well, Birdman should. And there's a lot of tag teams too. You know, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. Hey, also, speaking of that, we were kind of discussing before we jumped on here, the women's gauntlet match. It was a pretty long match. It was really well done. And
our good friend Natty.
Who I was really happy for her to see her win that match, and then she had a great match with Ronda this past week. It was one of the longest matches, I would think, women's matches we've ever seen, I would think, at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some research on that. I think the Women's Royal Rumble was, I don't know if it's the longest, because I think I saw something with Tessa Blanchard and Mercedes Martinez, so I don't know. But it's definitely up there. So, and I was happy for Natty, because Natty is one of the threads through, you know, I've said it before, some very lean years creatively for the women, and to still be there and still getting her props, you know, whether it's that tables match against Ruby Riott, which I really enjoyed, and on through, you know, to this gauntlet match. But I also got to say too, you know, just in speaking about the Riott Squad, I really, really like them, man. They are fully committed, and you can tell they're having an absolute blast. Doing what they're doing, they will make themselves indispensable to that division.
Right, and I think too, and like you said, you know, especially when you're in a unit like that, you have to buy into it, or else it's not going to work. And the cool thing is that they're all seemingly get along great, and we've worked with them on the Edge and Christian show, and they were awesome, and they were super fun, and they were down for anything, and you could just tell how good of friends they were and how well they got along outside of, you know, wrestling. So that helps as well when you're having fun and you have that camaraderie and that connection. You know, it can't help but come off on screen to me.
Now, I'm going to throw you a little curveball here, because I know you haven't you haven't been up to bat in a while. You got your big stupid John Olerud batting helmet on, and you're ready for my pitch, but you're going to whiff because you have no idea what I'm going to throw at you right now.
So most people are going to have to Google John Olerud and look at this helmet that he wore. And you're not even saying the helmet he wore up to bat. He wore a helmet in the field.
He did, and there's a reason, and it's I think he had like an aneurysm or something, so it was a good reason. But I just wanted to say you, with your big head, would look silly up to bat. And you're going to whiff on this, because I'm going to talk to you about another 3-person unit that I've been watching recently, because I've been catching up on NXT UK. And I'm talking about the Coffee Brothers and Wolfgang. You didn't see it coming. I know you didn't. You just whiffed. You didn't. I just heard it.
Didn't see it coming.
Lying in the catcher's mitt. Ernie Witt's back there, brother.
Or was it Buck Martinez?
Might have been. So I started catching up on NXT UK, and it was after I did that Inside the Ropes tour over there, and I just realized how much talent there was over there, and in meeting people and talking to people and everything, and I started to get caught up on the flights and everything like that on the show, and I like it. You know, it's rough around the edges at certain points, and you can tell there's some folks on there that are green and things like that, but they're learning, and they're getting this kind of...
But that's the fun of it too, right?
Yeah, it's fun to watch, man, because it feels like I'm getting in on the ground floor of this thing with these people, and watching them get talented and get TV ready, even if they're not TV ready. But so what? None of us were at the beginning, and they're getting this stage for the first time, and that's really, really fun to watch. And
well, I think it also says a lot to the British wrestling scene as a whole, how far it's come, especially in the last few years, but probably going back 5-10 years at this point. But you know, you think of guys like Doug Williams and guys like that have really started to lay the groundwork as far as in recent years to where it's at now. Even guys like Nigel McGuinness and stuff like that. So, you know, kudos to them for just pushing and pushing and pushing until, like, look at where it's flourishing to now. It's getting like a worldwide audience.
Well, yeah, none of it happens without guys like Regal and Dave Taylor and Fit and Robbie Brookside and further back Johnny Saint and Marty Jones and Dynamite, who we just recently lost, and Davey. And so the history is there, and it's nice to see the scene finally have, a kind of a worldwide stage. Yeah. And it reminds me, I've kept wanting to talk about this guy over and over and over, and it's Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
I'll always remember after the fact, I'm like, damn it, I wanted to talk about Dunne, and it got away again. I don't want to say he's flown under the radar, because he truly hasn't. He's just, he has a very cool style. I like the way he goes about things. He's not the biggest guy, but it doesn't matter, because he's figured out a way for his style to work. And I truly believe that he can work against almost any opponent, and it can work.
I think like he was smart too, like almost taking not like almost peeling the cruiserweight label off and renaming himself the Bruiserweight.
Because that makes it not matter.
Away. Yeah, exactly.
Really cool stuff. I enjoy his stuff. He can work, a multitude of styles, as evidenced by his matches against Ricochet and against, Tyler Bate. And he can just get in and go with anybody. And I know we've talked about Bate before. I think I said it was a t-shirt. Tyler Bate is fucking great. We got to come up with one for Dunne, besides the ones he already has. But I really wanted to mention him and make sure we give him some props, because I really enjoy watching that guy. Which brings me, Birdman, to Rhea Ripley, who we've talked about on the show.
Yeah.
And she won the tournament for the first ever women's UK title. And we talked about, in the second incarnation of the Mae Young Classic, how much she had changed her look and her style and really reinvented herself, and how we both liked it. Because I know the first time I saw her in the Mae Young Classic, I thought, okay, well, she's very similar to Charlotte. And no knock on her, but there already is a Charlotte. So she must have heard that from somebody else, because, man, she switched everything up, and it is badass. She switched up her style, her look, her music, her demeanor, her everything. Honestly, her and Dunne remind me a lot of each other. And if you were going to do like a unit of like a 4-person unit, you put those two in it and a tag team, and you got something there.
Yeah, for sure. And we've seen it in the past too, where, certain personas or whatever, you get into the business and it's an evolution, right? And then until you really find that thing that works or sticks or has a connection with the audience. And like I said, you don't ever want to be, and we talked about it before in the past too, where we saw guys come in for tryouts dressed head to toe like Shawn Michaels, and the real Shawn Michaels, the real guy that's regarded as probably the best to ever do it. We have the real one. He's here. So I just, you have to figure that something out that's going to set you apart and make you be a little bit different if you really want to go places.
And even if that's bits and pieces of a lot of different people that you've watched over the years. But she really, she found something, man. And it's going to sound strange, but it feels like there's elements of like Bam Bam Bigelow in there, and there's elements of Beth in there, and there's elements of like Kong in there, and there's but yet like a mean drop kick. And I don't know. It's really cool what she's doing though. And I remember there was a question on a Q&A a while ago, and it was if you could like form a team around ourselves. So like if you could form a new like your version of the Horsemen or whatever, who would it be? And I remember I didn't have much of an answer because I didn't put much thought into it. Right now, if I were rated R Superstar Edge, I would have Pete Dunne and Rhea Ripley in it with me.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other one would be if we're doing 4-person type thing, but I think they would be a cool deal, cool visual too. Just throwing it out there, Bird. Never going to happen, but just.
But that's only 3, isn't it?
I know. That's what I just said. I don't know who the 4th would be. I don't know yet. So I guess I didn't think of that through. But that aspect of it, or maybe Toni Storm, because she's got a cool thing going too.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I would take Johnny Gargano in his. Oh yeah. Right now, and his current persona would have worked good with what I did. And Alexa Bliss. What about that?
Well, that works for you. And you just brought to mind who the fourth would be.
Who?
Aleister Black.
There you go.
I mean, think about that. That's a pretty that would have been it. So there's the answer to that question from 4 months ago to Joe Hackenspot or whoever it was.
Huh.
That was it. That's all I got, Bird.
That's all off the top of my head. But hey, we should probably get to our guests here.
Get the boys on the horn, huh?
Yeah, let's get the boys on the horn here.
Hey, but before we do that, let's just face it. In writing the E&C show this year, we had a lot of times where we needed some sleep. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're struggling to get a good night's sleep, you've got to try Purple Mattress. I mean, how is Purple different from other mattresses? The Purple Mattress will probably feel different than anything you've ever experienced because it uses this brand new material that was developed by an actual rocket scientist. It's not like the memory foam you're used to.
Well, the Purple Mattress feels very unique because it's both firm and soft at the same time. Figure that one out. Huh? Can't do it because you're not rocket science. So it keeps everything supported while feeling really, really comfortable. Plus, it's breathable, so it sleeps cool. Here's the kicker. It's got a 100-night risk-free trial. If you're not fully satisfied, you can return your mattress for a full refund, backed by a 10-year warranty, free shipping and returns, free in-home setup, and old mattress removal.
I mean, you're going to love Purple right now. In addition to all the great free gifts Purple is offering site-wide, our listeners will get a free Purple pillow with the purchase of a mattress. Just text Awesomeness to 474747. The only way to get this free pillow is to text Awesomeness to 474747. That's AWESOMENESS to 474747.
Message and data rates may apply. And hey, Edge, speaking of that, you're kind of my old mattress. I wonder if they remove you from me.
Hello?
Howdy.
Jesus.
The unofficial Canadian national anthem.
Exactly. Tommy is so out of place in this whole amalgamation of Canadian man meat.
Yeah. Tommy was working on Justin Trudeau's private security detail on the last trip to the Yonkers State Fair, I think, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Justin Trudeau went to the Yonkers State Fair, huh? I missed that one.
Yeah,
he's a man of the people.
As well. Yeah, it's one of the great states. If you want to see Weird Al front row and center, that's where you got to go.
Fair enough. Who opens for Weird Al these days, though?
I think it was it was like an insane Clown Posse cover band or something.
They have a cover band now.
Yeah.
Wow.
There is actually, I think, a cover band. Yeah.
Don't tell me that, Timmy. By the way, everyone, all the hosers out there listening, that is the velvety tones of one Lil Timmy Beresford Esquire.
Howdy, folks. Pleasure to be here.
And somewhere in there, we also have Mike Flash Pongracz. You there,
Yeah,
Mike?
somewhere over here. Apparently, I'm really, really loud. I'm blowing the doors off.
Well, you want to know why? It's because you're the voice of Leon's. You're the voice of Timmy Texter. You're the voice of Copper Tone suntan that smells like fried chicken that I hear in a cab in Dublin. Right. KFC.
Yeah. That is still the most bizarre place that anybody that I know has heard something of mine is when you text me, you're like, so I was in this cab and I think it was you talking about KFC sunscreen. And I'm like, that's bizarre.
Yeah, it was so weird. Baby. Quick aside here. Beth and I went to see Bohemian Rhapsody when we were up in Canada. And sure enough, she's sitting there and she goes, is that Mike? I was like, yeah. He's the voice of Cineplex Odeon, Timmy Texter and all that. Blew her mind. Then we're at home. We're watching Center Ice Package. I'm watching a Leafs game. Leon's commercial comes on. She goes, is that Mike? I went, yeah. So she now thinks you are Elvis.
Which is the Canadian Elvis.
You are the Canadian Elvis, and I'm not talking Stoico. So... And also, yes, I'm in a cab in Dublin. I'm going to the airport, and I hear this commercial, which piqued my interest, about fried chicken smelling copper tone tan. And
is that really a thing?
It was a promotional thing that they did. And I actually do have a bottle sitting right next to my studio, and it smells like the chicken. I have not used it.
I was going to say, put it on right now.
All right. No. Can we put it on Tommy, please?
For season 3, sure.
As long as it's for season 3.
That's a good thing about this show, though, is that we could talk Tommy into pretty much anything. He would do it.
That's what makes
Let's just also... And let's just say that Tommy comes to the table with some ideas that talks himself into things.
Yeah, he does.
Normally if I'm naked, I like to pitch that.
Yeah. So let's just throw it all out there. So, hey, we got the whole team. Here it is. Look at us.
This is the quote-unquote brain trust of the Edge and Christian show. The Totally Reeks of Awesomeness.
So,
although I do miss your place, though, Adam, where we actually congregated to write most of season 2, because that was a lovely little smelly place by the end of the week.
It smelled like prison ass. It was pretty bad.
Has it lingered? Is it still there in that room?
No, I did a little sandblasting out there. We got some bleach. Yeah, we got rid of it. It got out of the fibers of the carpet, thankfully. We were able to remove the stench of 5 men with fast food and bottles of wine out of the apartment.
Because you would think out of viewing some of the stuff that we wrote and shot and now people are seeing that there was some funny stuff maybe going on, which it wasn't. It was just from our weird minds and maybe a little bit of red wine.
And a lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee. Yeah. I do think people assume when they watch it that we must smoke up a lot. And that couldn't be further from the truth. It just ends up that we're all a little warped. And I think throwing the 5 brains together, what you're seeing this season is what you get with that. And there was time to flesh everything out this time. I mean... you guys can talk about it. We all got down there. We're up here in the mountains, and we just started chucking ideas out.
It started off with a near miss by a night tornado, as I recall. There was a funnel cloud in the area. Tommy was particularly afraid.
Yes, because I had to fly into it.
Tommy fears night tornado and purple lightning. Everyone.
Correct. Because purple lightning usually triggers night tornadoes.
Right.
That's true.
And he was also some nights when we left to go back to the hotel, he was also scared of being high beamed from a car that had been hiding, waiting for him to leave.
Well, that was just coming down your mountain.
Yeah. So when we'd leave at night, I would make sure we left first, and then I would park in a little hidden area. And when Tommy drove by, I would sweep in behind him and put the high beams on and honk the horn. He didn't like that too much.
Yes, as I'm coming down a mountain where if you make a left or right, you fall off the mountain. And these are my friends trying to run me off the road.
Oh, that's the kind of a great concept for like a rental car commercial, Man.
Let's see how good this insurance works.
Yeah.
But this is exactly how most of what we wrote just sort of came about. Was we would just start talking about ridiculous things, and then somehow we'd come up with ideas that we'd throw on the little 3x5 cards and put them on the floor, and somehow we made a season of stuff to write.
Well, we should talk about, like, we knew going in that we were going to have 10 episodes somehow by the end of this week, basically laid out.
Right.
And a lot of times we get in that room, and the first hour and a bit was just us bullshitting and laughing and making fun of each other, and then all of a sudden something would be said from that would turn into a bit, and then we'd elaborate on it, and the next thing you know, we're writing bits. That's kind of weird how the process worked, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think the way, with the five of us, geez, I think I've already started drinking the wine.
Yeah, there you go.
With the 5 of us, everybody sort of had, I don't want to say it had a role, but everybody brought something to the table that was a little different, that sort of when you put everything together, it was sort of magical how easy stuff kind of came together. I don't know, it's like Timmy had this real panache for writing comedy, or penchant for writing comedy. I was like uber wrestling nerd with, ridiculous, useless knowledge. And then you've got Jay, who's the funny one, clearly, straight up.
Jay,
Tommy,
a large portion of it I recall, Jay, weren't you buying a car while we were there? Like you painstakingly
he was on Blue Book
for a vehicle on Blue Book or something.
Yeah, that's how much Jay pitches in. Yeah.
It was it was weird. I don't even know why. I was on my phone, which is not like me at all. And
not at all.
And I had saw this car, and it was like a couple hours from Adam's place. And in my head, I'm like, I could just buy this car and drive home. And I didn't end up buying the car. But
here's what he does.
Close.
So he sits there while we're writing a show that he's going to be on, where we try to set him up with great jokes, and he buys cars. When he's on this podcast, he sits on his phone, and I end up talking to myself half the time. I'll ask him a question, and then he'll go, huh? Oh, no, I was just checking something. Like, what?
It's all for research, guys.
Yeah.
But that's part of my process. And I think I'm more of a clutch performer. Like when it comes right down to it, when something needs to be punched up, as we call it in the business, that's kind of my thing. I'd punch it up, make it better.
That's where, and I totally agree. I mean, because I remember seeing that when we were shooting the stuff in New Orleans this past April. We'd have the sketch and we'd start going through it, and Jay would find these moments where he'd throw in an ad lib that would take like what was pretty funny to start with, but take it in a whole different direction and catch everybody off guard. Yet it's probably, one of the funniest things in the entire sketch. So I think that's Jay's, amazing savant-like quality, is that he just knows when to kick in and add something that will punch it up. Case in point, because the one that was huge on the old interwebs after they aired the preview for the show was the Hardy bedtime story, which that line that you said, Jay, was a complete ad lib because it wasn't in the script, and it was huge.
And then Tommy comes in with the gross element, I think, or for lack of a better term, the extreme element. I think that's fair to say.
You mean my body element? Thanks.
No, I mean your sense of humor, you sick bastard. Tommy, you would come up with things and take it a completely different direction. And sometimes that worked and sometimes it didn't. And I looked at you and didn't understand what happens in your brain. But when it works, it really, really works. And I will have to say that I think Tommy, and I might be in the minority here, but I don't think I am. I think Tommy is stealing the season. I truly, truly think that in terms of what we've seen so far, I personally laugh most at what Tommy does.
Yeah, me too.
The shot in the Moonies where Jay punches him in the stomach, that's probably the highlight of the season so far.
Which was also an ad-lib, by the way.
Yeah, and the look on everybody else's face, and I love the fact that they kept that in the edit, that they actually left that lingering shot where you can see everybody going, "Oh," at him, and Tommy going, "Why?"
Yeah, and also shout out to our weird cult figure type group that we've somehow put together with Sean Mooney, Funaki, Tommy, the two of us. Who else is it? Pete Gas and the Gas Man, of course. Yeah. But truly, think about that array of talent. I'll use air quotes. There's no way on paper you think, oh yeah, that could make a bunch of skits in a wrestling sketch comedy show. Yeah. It makes no sense whatsoever, but it makes perfect sense when you see it.
Here's the thing too about this, and we talked about it pretty openly as far as when we talked about the first season, when we started writing the show, and we had a few different writers kind of try out or whatever, and it just didn't seemingly, not that they weren't good or add anything, there has to be a chemistry to me, and it just wasn't fully there. And we had met Tim when Adam was shooting Haven, and he was on there with a guy named Lucas Bryant, who was a star of Haven, and we had this weird thing happen where I ended up on Haven, and Timmy ended up on Haven, which, strangely enough, like, you guys grew up maybe a half an hour from us and kind of had the same friendship that Adam and I did. And we all four of us, we got up there and we were shooting the show, and we hit it off and we became buddies, and we would go out for dinners and stuff or just hang out at each other's places, and we would just kind of do the same thing we did when we were writing the show, just like laugh and just do ridiculous stuff and, you know, drink a little bit and hang out. And it was, you know, just from that friendship, that the bond that we made there, and we kept in touch after, when we were talking about, you know, maybe we need to switch something up as far as the writing goes, or try something different, when we were still trying to find the footing of the show in the first season. I had mentioned to Adam, I was like, what about Timmy? Like, he's so funny, and it might be good that he's not, quote unquote, a wrestling fan when he writes this stuff. So I think I just called you out of the blue, Tim, and just like was like, hey, do you have any interest in writing for the show? And you're like, yeah, for sure. And you were living in LA at the time, and Adam and I were out there for a month, and you just came over to the house and we just started writing stuff. And that kind of was the kind of turning point for me as far as the direction of the show and finding out really ultimately what this show was and what it was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, it was pretty cool. And I think the thing that really makes this second season sing is Mike, because he is such an encyclopedia of wrestling knowledge, and such a funny dude too, you know, joining in and like widening the radius of the night tornado, as it were, with he and Tommy.
Yeah.
You know, it just it schmecks, you know, it does, it schmecks. It's got a schmeck, as they say in the business, and this one's schmecking nice.
For me, I love watching the show. Like, the last two episodes, I had no input whatsoever on. And I like the one, I'm laughing, and that was always our creative process. And I hate to go to ECW, but me and Paul, when we were booking things, if we were two individuals who had one main goal and we just came up with the same idea, we knew it would work. And for us, when we're in the creative room, when we would all just laugh at something, we knew we had it. And like this season 2, nothing is off limits, and we're not like shooting on people. Like when I was watching Christian as Maury Povich and they had the two girls, Beulah and Francine, I popped huge at that. And it wasn't a shot at them or me. It's just, we're just making people laugh, plus insider stuff. And, or even the ice cream bar skit. I had no clue that was even anywhere. And then all of a sudden I see that, and the description of my ice cream bar was, I'm laughing my ass off because I'm getting ribbed on the show that I helped write.
It's a weird kind of loyalty. It's a Canadian style loyalty. Yeah. It's not disloyal. It's just, it's a,
you know, and it's funny too, because like, the whole thing about this is, we have fun with it, and, you know, we like to get inside, and you know, the way that I view it, and I think that we all view it, is it's not a wrestling show, it's a variety show with a wrestling theme, and like, we're all looking at ways to make ourselves the butt of the joke as well. Like in that same ice cream skit, I was like, what if, you know, you say about me, he's just like the Edge one, just not quite as popular or as rich. You know, and it's like, you know, we're all looking for ways to be the butt of the joke, right? Like, that's the beauty of it.
When we sat down at your place, Adam, we were talking about Hilarious House of Frightenstein. Anyone who doesn't know that, it's just like cult classic show that was made at a TV station in Hamilton in like the 70s and early 80s. Yeah. And it was on, and it was just like this, took place in Dracula's castle. And we were all fans of the show, being Canadian. Most people don't know what it is, but there's something about season 2 that is not intentionally, but there's something about it that's reminding me of that show. You know what I mean? Like the fact that anything could happen next.
It has elements of that. It has elements of Kids in the Hall. It has elements of SCTV, just, again, with the wrestling theme. And also, too, like, I want to point out, in terms of writing and things like that, Jay and I would be in the midst of filming things, and I'd text Mike and go, right, we need a jingle for the Edge and Cena show. And overnight, Mike came up with that Growing Pains, Alan Thicke, like...
Totally 80s sitcom. Yeah, it was great.
And the thing is, I wrote two of those, actually. There were two versions, and then the one that we went with was the Edge of Casino. One was more sort of Family Ties-esque, but this one was more, it was very 80s, 90s style.
Randy Newman vibe.
Yeah, kind
of. Like Frasier-y. Little Frasier Crane.
Yeah, Frasier, yeah.
But who else would stick Frasier Crane and the WWE in the same television show?
Well, the same man who would come up with a midwife skit, for Bray Wyatt. Or we had the midwife skit for a while.
Yeah, actually, the funny story about that is we wrote that in that was one of the first ones that Tim had wrote for us, and it was in Los Angeles when we were out there, and we had that one we had that one kind of on hold for a long time because that was originally written for Stone Cold.
Yeah.
That midwife, and I remember you brought it over to the house we were staying at. We were doing a writing session, just the three of us, and I literally was in tears, crying, reading it. That's how funny it was to me, and the thing was, is Steve actually wanted to do it. We just could never get on the same page with him in the same spot to shoot it. And I remember calling him to see if he would do it. And I called him. I said, well, we have this idea for the Edge and Christian. He said, how's the show going? He asked me about it. I told him about it and all that sort of thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. And I said, well, we have this idea for the skit for you. And he's like, oh, yeah, what is it? And I said, well, we want you to be a midwife. And there was silence on the other end of the, on the other end of the line. And I was like, I have it right here. Do you want me to read it for you? He's like, yeah, go ahead and read it. And I said, all right, I'm going to read it in my best Steve Austin impression. And I read it to him. And all of a sudden, as I'm reading it to him, I can hear him start laughing. And he's laughing. At the end, he goes, hell yeah, I'll do that. And he goes, that's great. He goes, who wrote that? And I told him it was Tim Beresford. And he's like, because goddamn, that sounds exactly as how I would put it. He goes, I'd probably put my own stink on it, but damn, that's pretty damn good. And he goes, I'll do that, but we could just never get in the same spot to get him to do it. And we had it, and we all really wanted to shoot this. And of course, we had the skit we did with Bray in the first season, which he killed it, and he did with this one as well.
Let's mention that Bray knocked it out of the park. And Bray was a guy that we had on in season 1, and it was one of the skits that we definitely felt worked because of his delivery and all of those things. And that was something that Timmy was heavily involved in too, was writing that bedtime stories for Bray. And I remember Bray was initially, he was trepidatious because at that point his character wasn't really seen outside of the box of what his character was. Well, I think too, somebody
just told him that he was going to be reading a bedtime story, and he didn't know what it was.
And that's one thing that has been great is once we got the talent there and we got them in the room and they started reading these things and realizing that there's no handcuffs and you can just kind of have fun with this thing, we started getting requests of people going, we want to be on, I'm in next time, whatever you want. And so we all just thought, Bray as the midwife worked perfectly. And you mentioned something, Jay, that the genesis of this season also, like you said, it started in Venice when Timmy would come over to our place there in Venice Beach. Right. And that's where this whole thing started, taking off from. And then eventually, and I know, Mike, you wrote the interrogation of Shawn Michaels, the Dirty Deeds. Now, so you have Stone Cold, Steve Austin, saying this about Timmy, and then Mike, you got to be in the room to see us film that Dirty Deeds with Shawn. And, after as we were reading it and doing it, he looked up, he goes, who wrote this? And Mike kind of sheepishly was like, oh, I did. He goes, this is great. And I could just see Mike elevate off the ground.
Oh, I wasn't elevating.
Just
I was enlarging.
He was floating. He was just in the clouds. Like, Shawn Michaels just told me that my writing is funny.
Well, and I think the thing about just the whole 2 seasons, what's made it really cool is, again, you go back to when we were kids. I think we all sort of paralleled growing up. It's kind of bizarre, you and Jay, Timmy and Lucas, me and my best friend Ken, we were kind of the same idea. We
and Tommy and Tommy.
In silence. But we kind of grew up in the same. We grew up in the same sort of way. So we had that same sort of sensibility. Here are wrestlers that we idolized that now we're writing for. I'm writing words that Paul Heyman is now saying on this TV show. This is cool. you know, and the whole Sean thing was awesome just to watch the three of you guys read through it. And God love Sean. Like, he showed up. That was the Sunday morning of WrestleMania. So the night after, you know, the awesome NXT takeover, he came in and he was gangbusters. None of the jokes, you know, I was a little worried because some of the stuff, you know, you don't know exactly how the talent are going to take some of the things that you write. But he was fully committed. He laughed. He added stuff, like when you guys were shooting, that, you know, just it took it again to the next level. And I think what makes this season really special is that all the talent that we've got, they are so fully committed, and there's no sort of questioning, no humming and hawing. Of all the people, like Dash and Dawson, that was the one that I was really kind of like, I don't know, are they going to go for this? And they took it from where we had it and took it to a whole new level, and it was brilliant.
I almost had to pull them back a little bit. It's like, guys,
yeah, it was like getting a little too far on the fisting, please. Can we back off on the fisting?
Poor Bailey sitting there like, oh my God, what am I doing here?
Yeah, it's like when Bray came in and read that midwife sketch, he had this stunned look on his face when he lowered the script, and then he looked up at Adam and Jay and just burst into laughter, and he's like, am I allowed to do this? You know, it was like a revelation, and he was so excited. He was like a kid at Christmas, you know, like just that he was allowed to say and do these things.
And that's what's cool, though, is I think we've, you know, through the show, have given the opportunity for some of the talent who maybe don't get to sort of exercise the creative side as much, sort of on, you know, on the regular shows. I think we've given them an opportunity to, you know, show perhaps, you know, the people higher up that, hey, I can do some pretty funny stuff. And I think season 1, Bailey was, you know, the breakout star, and this season, like, there's tons of people that I think are garnering a bit of a look from, you know, maybe people upstairs go, wow, I didn't realize they could do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was really impressed at, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, wrestlers are actors, performers, storytellers, but man, like, pretty much everybody we've had on has been like a crack improviser. Like, when you just give them the leash to go and do what they want, like, amazing. Like Hillbilly, I mean, everybody. like world-class, bizarre, hilarious, like, just, I got to pinch myself, you know?
Yeah, there's some surreal moments for sure. Hey, and you know what? I do have to give a shout out to Betty Phoenix, the Phoenix one, who is a very understated
member
voice also. Yeah, member
Absolutely,
of the team,
yeah.
but she won't
She's
take
the
credit.
The George Martin of our Beatles.
That's right.
Yes. You know what? That's a very, very good way to put it. And she'll like spit out this idea. She's like, what if Samoa Joe sold Samoas in a Girl Scout costume? I'm like, honey, that's why I married you. And she'll just spit out, you know, a couple of ideas here and there.
Sponsor a villain. That was her, right?
Yeah. And she also had the wrestling buddies, the real life wrestling buddies.
Well, even the Edge and Cena theme song. The day I texted you saying, "Hey, I've got a theme for the Edge and Cena thing," that text back, she goes, "Are you like listening into our conversation? Because I was just telling Adam, you guys should have a special theme for that." So she was more in tune than I think most people would think.
Yeah, she has a lot of good ideas and a lot of weird ones too. Because again, wrestling fan growing up, and I mean, it just you get a bunch of brains that all watched wrestling. Tommy, Beth, Mike, you, me, Jay, and then you throw in Timmy, who is this wild card who knows of wrestling, but you bring in a different type of comedy that I think you can hear within the show. And I think it's been really important to it.
All right.
I got 3 things that I feel like are, I don't want to say my favorite, but most importantly, if people who are listening and can understand this dynamic and this process. Number 1 is, I remember we're all in the room. It's like the 4th day. It's getting late. Jay, who's constantly on his phone, and we're all throwing out there, Jay, get off your phone. Jay, and I could see Adam is actually starting to get mad at Jay because that's normal. And we were doing the John Cena Edge show, and I believe it may have been me that came up with what if it was a dream, and then Adam just threw something so out there that like Jay wasn't even listening. He's like, what if like we circumcise Jay, like just something that Jay is not even paying any attention. I could see he's just starting to get angry. And then he's like, Jay, get off your phone. And then Jay throws out the second part of like, what if he wakes up? It's a dream of a dream. And then like totally stole it. And we all just start laughing, which is total. If the fans really want to understand this show, this is what I lived when I would travel with Edge and Christian. It really makes me miss them so much when I watch this show because we would get in the car. They would make me laugh. We would have so much fun on the road driving for hours. And like we would first talk about the show that we just left, rip up something, and then just have fun for the next few hours. And that's what I got to live for so long. And I love it. And I miss it. And when I watch that show, it makes me realize why they're my friends. And I love that I can feel that. And I feel, and also I see it through social media, how everyone else responds to that. Like even as absurd as Carlito with the Brian Gewirtz line, or Gewirtz, and like inside is like, oh, he used to be the writer of Raw. Even for Brian to put out there on social media. And I mean, he works with The Rock and he's like, you know, as real as Hollywood can get now. And he's like, that could be possibly my favorite name drop in my entire career, you know? And what was the last one? I can't remember it. I'll have to get back to it. Sorry, concussions.
And that was a Carlito ad lib. That was his ad. You know, and that's one thing that I really think that hopefully people seem to like is that we're open to, you know, Sean came up with the dodgy eye line. That was his, you know.
And I don't know about writing that line or writing something similar, but he committed fully and he totally got what we were doing. And it's something the fans, you know, be like, oh my, did he really just say that?
And the funny thing with the Carlito thing was, too, not to backtrack or anything, it was like, well, who are we going to get to play this pirate? And I don't know why Carlito popped into my head. I was like, let's have Carlito do it. And everyone's like, what? Yeah, that could work. And then it was just weird how he popped in my head for that part, and he killed it. It was great.
Also, shout out to, you know, Paul Miller, who, you know, producer extraordinaire for us, who helped, you know, coordinate all of the talent, get everybody in on time, keep a budget, you know, Joe Izzo, you know, Madison, just everybody.
And Hannah.
I'm forgetting names. Thank you.
Yeah,
Obes.
Obes, yeah. We had a great crew.
Right. And there's two other writers, too. Mark Satterthwaite did a bunch of stuff for us out of Los Angeles. And my brother did a couple of bits in the second season, too. Drew Beresford. And Mark Satterthwaite.
Sean, our editor, you know, just it's all, you know, it's an ugly little beast. It's but it's been a lot of fun, you know, even just in coming up with. I'll think of an idea for the show. That's basically I understand that's my job. But come up with a theme for the show. All right, so this one is going to be a take on the Goonies, and then start to insert in people that we can, you know, put into those parts. And
whoever would play Data.
And here's what's crazy. It is so easy with this massive melting pot of crazy, insanely creative, talented people that all inhabit the wrestling universe. It was so easy to come up with, oh, well, that's got to be so-and-so, and that's got to be so-and-so, and this will be who, and that'll be that. It almost started to write itself once you came up with a theme.
Mm-hmm. It was almost like we were fantasy booking, like, our show. Like, you would say, all right, we'll do the Goonies. Like, who would you want to have? And so we, you know, throw out names and stuff. And surprisingly, this season, we had a lot of, you know, thanks to talent relations, we got a lot of cameos and a lot of people, you know, so it really was like, I think we should use, let's use the Good Brothers for the Thunder Plugs. Okay, yeah. And that was ridiculous. And now they've got their own show on the network. So, I don't know, are we rocket strapping more stuff here?
Right.
Wondering.
Yeah. They were great, too. Carl Anderson absolutely cracks me up, man. He's a funny dude.
And there's still stuff this season, too, with the Good Brothers that is equally as funny as Thunder Plugs. And I know that, a lot of people on the internet were like, oh, man, I hope they have more stuff from this season. It's like, yes, there's still more stuff coming.
A lot more Tommy, literally and figuratively.
I trained hard for my role. I'm a method actor. I got purposely out of shape for the show.
A lot more creepy Tommy characters as well. I mean, there's just it was a blast. It really was fun. It was a hell of a lot of work, but this season felt like a lot less like work because it was so fun and it was such a collaborative effort. And I think we had the time to flesh everything out. We had the time to write everything. We had the time to try and cherry pick our, the people that we wanted for cameos and for parts. We had some holdovers from the first season, like the Bailey therapy sessions that we could insert in. And it really, I think this season is really what the vision of what we had. Wouldn't you agree, Jay?
Yeah, and like I said, going back to the first season, trying to find what it was. And then once we did, it was like, oh, okay. And I think, too, when we all got in the room and you're writing with your friends and people that you're comfortable with and you know that you all get along and you all have kind of the same sense of humor, you're having fun and you don't even realize that you're working because you're having so much fun. Next thing, like, we would sit in that room literally for 10 hours a day and write. And it just flew by like it was nothing. Like, at some points, too, we're like, we should probably take, like, a dinner break here or something, huh? Because, like, we're just, you get in the zone, and like I said, yeah, everybody's laughing and having fun, but at the same time, like, real work is getting done. And I thought that was the cool part, that we had so much fun even though we were putting in so much time. And I thought that was a really cool thing.
I wish everything in life was that much fun. I just wish everything was that much fun, man. It was really, so easy. Tons of work, but like you said, just you didn't notice it. And that, I think it's a sign of like a good idea. It's like a good way to vet an idea. If it just slides right out and people are screaming and laughing and that's continuing to happen, it goes without saying, but it's a great sort of metric by which to judge whether or not something's going to work, whether it's going to land.
And I think we also knew who the audience we were writing for was more this year. I think we realized, I think WWE on a whole, they've got to have a product that sort of appeals to the mass audience and to the casual viewers. We know who we're writing for. Like, we are writing for, we joke about the marks, but they're the core audience. They're the ones when, wrestling is on a downturn, they're still there for good and bad. They're the biggest critics. They're also, the biggest supporters. So I think we're doing what we kind of set out to do.
Yeah. How often do you go into a workplace scenario where there's absolutely no rules, and the only note from like the head office is it's got to be crazier than it was last time. You got to push it farther, and that was it. And there's no rule. Like, there's no rules. It doesn't need to make sense. It doesn't need to follow any kind of rationale. You can bounce around. It's perfect.
Or with the Ico Pro went over so well, and that was sort of like just thrown together. They're like, yeah, write more of that. And then Adam sends out a text, yeah, we need another 7 sketches like Ico Pro. Can you get them done this week?
I worked in WWE Talent Relations, and there was a lot of things that you were not allowed to talk about. And like, there was almost also emails sent around like, hey, don't mention this. I remember, don't mention Impact Wrestling or TNA. And now it's like we said, it's nothing was off limits, and it's not shooting on them. It's just making people laugh. And it's almost like, why couldn't you talk about this? But this show did, and that was amazing. And my My favorite part is the chump stain challenge. Here's why. Because if the world wants to know the real inner workings of Christian's mind, and if you notice all his body movements and how, like, that is him, and he is very competitive. I watch that show and I laugh my ass off. Like, when he gets something wrong, he is holding it, his pure anger and hatred for Adam for he's getting it right. And that's the real Jay that everyone needs to just study his quirkiness, why I love him so much. And when he wins, it's like him winning the fucking Super Bowl, because that's so him. I never curse, but that was, when he won that first one and he like jumped up, I was like, that's him, 100%.
Worst winner. He's Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver. Yeah.
Tommy.
Here's my notes. And I can't say some of them, but I just put episodic like titles as a kind of a stop, like, right, this is for this. So it's Edge and Christian Part Deux. It says the Moonies, and I have all the people for the parts. One that I can't give away, damn it. Samoa Joe, Girl Scout Cookies. Nils Nascaris, Dutch Luchador. And all it says is Master of Sweet Clog Music, or Clog Kick. El Grande Fuegos Cajones, Arch Nemesis. And Nils, HBK, question mark. And then Total Devos, that's it. And then I can't say the other ones, but yeah, because they haven't aired yet.
We got a lot of what we had come up with actually come true, which is amazing. And I mean, yeah, HBK doing the Nils was, because I don't think people immediately knew, but as soon as he started doing the Ultimate Warrior promo that we tweaked to involve mayonnaise sandwiches, people are like, oh my God, that is Shawn Michaels under that mask.
And we also were able to add in, the animation that was thrown in, and that was a great ad. Yeah. And also want to talk about Nick, Timmy's buddy Nick up in Toronto, who gave us the ability this season to do some stuff, what our minds would come up with. We knew it wasn't possible, but with Nick, it became possible.
And it's neat as the season wears on, and we sort of felt the need to arc into more distant galaxies with our nonsense. He became more and more important to the, are we going to be able to like put a realistic talking cow's head onto, Bob Backlund? Can we do that? And it's like, well, yeah, we can. We know a guy who can do that. Nick Denboer is a great animator. So, he's sort of making little glimmers, and so far we're sort of halfway through, I guess. But by the end, he's quite prominently featured, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it ups the ante as we go on. Because that's the only problem we really face, and sitting down to write it too, is like, we're chugging along, we're laughing, but there is that need, and we all kind of know it's like, well, episode 5's got to be a little crazier than episode 4, and then episode 6 has got to be a little crazier. By the time you get to 10, it's like, where can we go?
Yeah.
We go there.
And then we went there. We found.
Part of this whole process for me was, seeing these ideas down on cue cards laid out on the floor as far as the episodes, then filling in the segments, then writing them, and then getting the talent that you request for it, and then shooting it, and then seeing the editing process, having things sent to you, and you've seen it from its infancy all to this, and you've seen it and read it, and you've seen it in all of its different ways before it's a finished product, and then right before the first episode, by the time you've seen it, I've seen that episode probably 10 times already, because there's things that have been switched around, and there's all the post-production type stuff that you almost become desensitized to it at a certain point because you've read it and seen it and so much. And then there's that fear right before it's like, man, is this funny? Like, are they going to like it? And then
I think you get too close to it sometimes.
Yeah, you get really close to it, right? So when I started to see the feedback from the first episode on, I was like, oh, okay, it was almost like a sigh of relief almost, because, we put so much into it, and we all thought it was funny, and we're entertained by it, and we're just, you hope when you put it out there, the same goes for the people that you're ultimately writing it for, to entertain them.
And there was a certain expectation, though, of that people had of season 2. Like, there were a lot of people that for the last 2 years, like, are they going to do a season 2? Are they going to do season 2? Because season 1, wound up really great. And so, yeah, there's that extra pressure on, we do have to deliver. And, like you said, Jay, is it funny enough? And I think, yeah.
That nugget, that thing that makes you pop when you're sitting in the room writing it, and then when you go through the long process of rewriting it and going through production, and, well, we weren't able to get this person, we had to get this person, so we rewrite that. And then, like you said, Jay, you sit down and watch 10 different cuts of it, trying to make it, happen, make it land. You've got to still keep in mind, and I think we've done this, like, to that original nugget that made us laugh when somebody first suggested, when Adam was like, oh, there should be a map hidden inside the dong on the plaster sculpture. Or whoever said that. I don't know if it was Adam or not, but one of us said it, and I remember laughing.
Well, that's the kind of thing that makes me sort of pinch myself now, like thinking back, when I first met Adam and Jay in college, and, we talked wrestling, we loved wrestling, and then here we are, 25 years later, and all of a sudden, hey, there should be a map inside a golden dong that's got the faces of fear on it. Okay. And there it is. So yeah, it's so bizarre how things have sort of come to this point. And that's what's been awesome with this show, is just getting to do a lot of the goofy stuff that, I would have loved to have been around when you guys were doing E&C, writing with Brian back in the Attitude days. But, here I am getting that chance now, 25 years later, and it's equally as much of a blast to sort of go through the process and sort of see the end result, because it's pretty cool. And it's cool to watch a show with my daughter, and she's laughing and she's loving it because she's equally as, warped as her dad is. So,
well, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, and I feel, Jay, like we've talked about ourselves because it's our show on our podcast way too much.
Well, I'm never against putting myself over, if that's
of course
what you're worried about.
Yeah.
Are we going to do a season 3 though? Is that going to happen? Hey, after last week's pod with Matt Riddle, and I had texted Adam the day after, I've already got stuff ready to go. Like, where was Matt Riddle when we were writing season 2? Because we had so much good material.
Yeah, I already wrote an entire sheet of just episode ideas. It's like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, okay. There's 8 episodes. Yeah.
But you've gone from Savage Stallions last week to like middle-aged dads this week. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, we're back. As much as I like to put myself over, I don't think this is so much of putting the show over as far as like kind of, showing the process of what it took to get this second season that we're all so proud about. Kind of off the ground and to where it's at now, where it's airing, and we're all super excited about it and just happy to be sharing it with everyone.
Also fun to give props to you guys and everybody behind the scenes, because people see our faces or the faces of the other talent, but they don't know, this season in particular was much more of a group process that obviously Jay and I are fully and deeply involved in, and kind of, for lack of a better term, have the reins on in terms of editing and still all of those things, because it is our character names and our faces there, but it much more of a collaborative thing this year. And I think that, it made the job easier for Jay and I, and that made it much more enjoyable.
Yeah. And it's something we said too, like our whole crew, like from the writers to everybody that was involved, came to work and had smiles on their faces and had fun. And that's what it was all about. Everybody just really, really enjoyed the whole thing. And to me, that was kind of the what I took away from it and appreciated the most, that everybody just had so much fun doing this show.
Yeah. It was a pleasure to work on, man.
Yeah, it was very cool. Very, very cool. And, thank you guys for letting us play in the sandbox with you. That's pretty awesome.
And something else that we figured when we were all in North Carolina writing the show, that Tim and I were at the same wrestling show at Maple Leaf Gardens years ago, and we didn't realize it till that day.
Yeah, that was the three of us were at that same show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we figured out that the three of you were. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah, and I danced in the ring with the Junkyard Dog, along with like 100 other kids. He called like all the kids, and we just charged in the ring. But this is this is second to that. This is the closest I've really ever been to a ring.
Yeah. Well, we can't get you dancing with the Junkyard Dog again, but
no.
I was going to say, you did make Bray Wyatt say Virginia, so
that was
something to hang on the mantle.
Oh God. Yeah.
Jesus.
So that.
Lord, I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah. I've got a birthday girl here who's waving at me, wanting to go eat. So,
all right, you're a middle-aged dad. You're a middle-aged dad. I'm a middle-aged dad. So is Jay. So we all got to go. You guys go. It was great having you on, and thanks for all the help this season.
All right, boys.
There, boys. All right, there, boys.
Take her easy, boys.
Take her easy. That was very Canadian. Elements of that talk were very, very Canadian. So we apologize to those who are not from Canada.
Especially ending there with a little Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Bob and Doug, yeah.
But no, it was a fun chat. Always good to catch up with those guys. Obviously, we still keep in close contact with them, and friends for life type thing, not just work compadres. So
and I've told Beth this. It's outside of you and Nick Svakovich, aka Zarni, aka Sin Bodhi. Mike is my longest tenured friend, I guess, for lack of a better term. We met in college. Both radio DJs for taking television radio at Humber College, connected over, Weezer Blue Album, and REM Monster, and hey, wait, you're a wrestler? And he's a wrestling, and just all these years later, for him to be involved in writing this show, and I knew he'd be a great ad just because of his insane knowledge, and then your call of wait, Timmy's really funny and he can write. And then of course, Tommy's involved in everything we do. So it was all just this
He's
weird
along for the ride.
Yeah. And then like I said, the dark horse, Beth coming in with these insane, awesome ideas out of nowhere. I'm like, that's gold. Yeah. Write it down and we're off and running. Well, we should mention that because of Christmas and, all of those things, there wasn't a new E&C show this week. So it's back this Monday after on its usual time slot.
It's back at you, brother.
So hopefully people are enjoying the season so far. There's a lot more to come, and it gets really weird.
And that's saying something. All right.
It's weird.
Well, I think
enough about us.
Yeah. Let's
now we say goodbye from our pod.
Is that how we say it? No, that's not how we say it.
Well, I'm just saying we talked about our show. Now we're going to say goodbye from our podcast. Yeah. We're a multi-headed beast.
These fucking marks, they love listening to us. Like how you didn't do the intro properly. They don't care. They came for us. They stay for us, brother. Now they got to leave. We're out.
It's time to get out of here. We're kicking you out the door.
Here we go.